The Marlborough Public Library is bringing history to life with its rotating exhibit, Timeline to Independence, sponsored by the Marlborough Revolution 250 Committee. This was the second of 3 exhibitions in the series, and it focused on the growing tensions between the American colonies and Britain. From historic documents to rare portraits, the exhibit offered a glimpse into the past that you won't find anywhere else.
And this is the second one. The first one covered the founding of Massachusetts and Plymouth, and it basically dealt with religion because that was the most important subject during that period. And this time we're doing the growing anxiety and anger at because of the English taxes and oppression and all of that. And we have a lot of major documents like the Stamp Act, the Quartering Act, things like that on display here. And because of the people that we know who donated to this, we probably put together a collection that you would not be able to see anywhere else.
The exhibit features several original documents, including a pamphlet written by James Otis in 1764, which challenged British taxation long before the Stamp Act ignited widespread anger among colonists.
Then we have some material dealing with the Boston Massacre in 1770. We have a copy of the first Boston Massacre oration. They had 9 orations over 9 years to commemorate the massacre and to keep people angry, right? So they could have their war.
In addition to historical documents, the exhibit includes rare books that influenced the Founding Fathers.
We have a whole series of 3 or 4 books. They're English books from 17th century and 18th century English opposition people, and each one of those books would have been collected and read by all the Founding Fathers, and they're all about republicanism and representation and anti-monarchy ideas.
And among the most notable pieces on display were original portraits of key revolutionary figures.
Yeah, we have a couple of period portraits of Samuel Adams by John Norman and a French portrait of John Hancock. The Hancock one is done by the French, because remember that the French is our allies, and most of the Founding Fathers ended up with portraits done by French artists, and the text is in French.
One of the most unique items featured at the exhibit was the 1762 commission of Marlborough soldier Ithamar Brigham, signed by Governor Bernard.
The commission of Ithamar Brigham from 1762, I believe, to be a member of the Marlborough militia, and it's signed by Governor Bernard. Governor Bernard got sick of, a couple of years later, got sick of all the falderall of the Revolution coming on him, and he went back to England. But because he was a royal appointee, he was able to collect his salary all that time. And poor Thomas Hutchinson, the lieutenant governor, who was an American, ended up taking the brunt of the colonial anger at the British.
The final exhibit in the series will open at the end of March and will highlight the beginning of the Revolutionary War.
And people who come will get to see some very rare things. We actually have lined up a Watertown, Massachusetts copy of the Declaration of War against England. And it's kind of interesting because at the end of it, even though they're declaring war, they're leaving a little wiggle room because they extend what's called an olive branch petition to the king and said, if you change your mind and start being nice to us, we'll call the war off.
With each installment of the Timeline to Independence exhibit, visitors gain a deeper understanding of the tensions that led to the American Revolution. The final exhibit, covering the war's beginning, will be on display from March 27th through March 29th at the Marlborough Public Library. For history lovers, it's a must-see event. For WMCT-TV, I'm Ryan Maliar.